I want to be very clear. Our borders are not open.
Happy lunch hour. Well, I guess based on that clip, you can give Alejandro Mayorkas a 5 Pinocchios, one of the biggest lies told to the U.S. public this year. I think we'd all agree. The border's not open, right? Welcome to nearly the end of December, and we have a little record for Joe Biden about to happen. In the nice cold weather that we get for December, winter, we are about to have the biggest month of the year for illegal aliens crossing the southern border. The previous record of 269,735 in a month happened just a couple of months ago in September. Okay. Customs and Border Patrol has announced that we have already crossed 250,000 for this month and still growing. So yes, congratulations, Joe Biden. You have set another record. You can add that to your portfolio of all the great things you did for other people, not Americans. Another chapter in America Last. It's kind of interesting. This morning I was reading an article on how the mayors of New York, Chicago, and Denver are all complaining that their sanctuary cities policies just can't handle the influx of the people they are getting. They've got to declare states of emergency, and there's just too many people coming. Yet none of them will point the finger at Mayorkas and Biden saying, do something about this. They're just like, you got to send them somewhere else. The NIMBY principle, not in my backyard. That's exactly what it is. We're all for bringing in illegals. Just don't bring them around me. That's what they all want. Okay. It's kind of interesting listening to Mayor Adams in New York, Mayor Johnson out of Chicago, whine and bitch. Oh, it's depleting our resources. We can't do anything. Yada da da da. All the while, well, we're housing illegals in the Roosevelt Hotel or other hotels in New York and Chicago, while we have American citizens or veterans homeless on the street who can't get any assistance because it's all taken up by the illegals. Remember the story I told you around Thanksgiving, where they were giving away turkeys to help the poorer people in the neighborhoods. And the illegals were all there in line to take all the turkeys. And the people who actually lived there in New York didn't get one. Remember the story I was telling you just a couple of days ago about one of y'all who lives in Denver, who when Mayor Johnston came up and said, well, President Biden promised me that we'll get fast-track work permits for all of you. And the people said, we didn't come here to work. We just came here for all the free stuff that was promised to us. Right? Okay, remember those things. The absolute funniest part of all these mayors talking about what the problems they have was Mayor Johnston of Denver. Okay. Now I'm going to give you this. All the states getting illegals, whether they're flown in on Delta Airlines, paid for with our tax dollars, whether it's Greg Abbott busing them or flying them to Martha's Vineyard or New York or Chicago or to Denver or wherever. Every state in the country has got their share, and I won't say fair share, their share of illegals that we all get to support. Okay. Now I'll give you this. New York City claims that they have 157,600 illegals in the city. New York State as a whole says they have 958,000. Okay. State of Illinois claims they have 526,000. Yet Mike Johnston, mayor of Denver, made this comment. We at this point now have had more migrant arrivals in our city than any city in America per capita. I'm going to give you this. The state of Colorado isn't even in the top 15 states of illegal population. Okay. If we kind of go through this, like I said, New York claiming 958,000. They're in the top 7. California's number 1, obviously. Okay. But just to give you this as an idea, Johnston's saying they have more migrant arrivals in his city than any other city in the country. Okay. Now, mind you, Denver's got a population of about 700,000. In the top 15, New Mexico has an illegal population of 91,000. Connecticut, tiny little Connecticut up in the Northeast, has a migrant population of 120,000. Okay. So in the top 15, the lowest number is New Mexico with 91,000. So that means if Colorado didn't hit the top 15, mathematically, obviously, they have less than New Mexico, which has 91,000 in the entire state of Colorado. Okay. But remember what Johnston said. Okay. Denver's population of about 700,000. Let's see. El Paso, which has a population of 700,000, is getting 14,000 illegals a week. Brownsville, Texas only has a population of 186,000. They're getting 15,000 a week. Eagle Pass, Texas, they have a population of 28,000. They're getting 14,000 illegals a week. That means their population is increasing 50% each week until those people move on somewhere else, if they move on. But remember, Johnson said, we at this point now have had more migrant arrivals than any city in America per capita. Tell that to Lakeville, Arizona. Lakeville, Arizona is getting 16,500 illegals a week. The population of Lakeville, Arizona is 35. Not 35,000, 35. But yet, like Johnston said, they're getting more people than anywhere else. Right? Okay. We're about to set a monthly record for the most illegals at over 250,000 people. Again. We now have had over 7 million illegals come into this country from all over the world. Why? Because this administration, Biden, has promised them free stuff. If you listen to what those illegals in Colorado said, we don't want to work. We just came here for the free stuff. How's that money tree growing out in your backyard? I mean, I don't know, around me, the leaves are off, so I guess there's no income for those of us that live in a climate that has 4 seasons. But I guess those of you down in southern Florida, maybe southern Texas, the desert Southwest, how's that money tree growing for you? Because if they don't want to work, I guess they just expect all us gringos, we're going to build their houses for them out of the kindness of our hearts. We're going to produce the food for them out of the kindness of our hearts. We're going to generate the electricity. We're going to stock the shelves at the grocery stores. We're going to build all the materials, the products that they buy at Home Depot out of the kindness of our heart, because Americans are such gracious people that, we see how bad you've had it. So I'm going to take you on as my responsibility, and you don't have to do anything anymore in your life. I'll work harder so you don't have to. Bullshit. How naive do you have to be to think that everything in life is provided for free? I mean, imagine if these people, their thought process was correct. We don't want to work. We're just coming for everything that was promised us for free. At that point, every person from every country in the freaking world would be coming to the United States. Populations of countries would be emptying out left and right. Because, hey, why do I have to work in Tokyo or Sydney or Berlin or London or Amsterdam or Rio de Janeiro? I'll just go to the United States and I can live there for free. This is what Joe is promising people. And this is what the idiot liberals don't understand. It's not sustainable. We can't do this. They can talk all they want about, gee, Americans aren't having enough kids, so we need to increase the population so that we can provide the goods and services that the population needs. I mean, that's a snowball, okay? That's all it is. The more people, the more population, the more stuff you need, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. No, the real reason that Joe wants these people to go to work is because they've got to figure out how to fix what was screwed up 50 years ago when Joe was in Congress, okay? When they robbed Social Security, when they took the money out of the Social Security Trust Fund, put it in the general fund, and spent it, okay? As people are living longer, they are winding up collecting Social Security longer. You and me and everybody else worked 30, 40, 50, 60 years putting money into Social Security. Never once did they ever say, oh, we've got enough money, we're cutting your Social Security taxes, right? Never did that happen. But so now what you have happening is for all those of us who are collecting Social Security or are about to collect Social Security, it's not the money we put in that is being paid out. It's the money that our kids and our grandkids are currently putting in that is paying the people who rightfully deserve their Social Security. And if you guys remember, about 6 months ago, I did a video on how they completely screwed us, I think to the tune of about $500,000 for me, okay, because I ran the numbers. But now if we have generations that aren't having kids because, oh, it's too freaking expensive to raise kids, we don't have enough workers. So what are we going to do? We'll import a whole bunch of illegals to work to pay into Social Security so that we can continue the Ponzi scheme to pay off the people who rightfully have a reason to collect the money. But what happens a generation from now, if we still exist, okay, when all those people say, I want to collect my Social Security, right? Those are your kids. Those are your grandkids who it ain't going to be there for them. And I know we hear this every year. Social Security is going to run out this year. Social Security is going to run out this year. Social Security should have never run out. Like everything else, they just keep kicking the can down the road. And their solution to it is to bring in more illegals, put them to work, take the money from them, and try to maintain their power. Because as long as people are getting their checks, they won't revolt. They know as soon as the Social Security checks stop, as soon as the food stamps stop, as soon as the welfare checks stop, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, that it's going to be pitchforks and torches. That's what's going on. This is how many people we have coming in and how goofy it is. The people in their ivory towers do understand exactly what they're doing. And they are doing anything they can to CYA right now. You and I are the ones that are going to get screwed. If you're not paying attention to what's going on, that's the thing. I will tell you this. Mayorkas, Biden, Harris, Newsom, any of them, they could give a rat's ass about illegals. You hear the stories all the time. Oh, they're trying to bring in more Democrat voters. That ain't it. Okay. Traditionally, Mexicans, Central Americans, South Americans are very conservative. If they got the right to vote in the United States, chances are they're not voting for liberal policies. The only hope they have, the Democrats, is that they vote for more free stuff. We just ain't giving it to them anymore. Pinball out.